They say you change, and now they're mad. They may be right. They say you change, and they're right. You stop shrinking yourself to make others feel comfortable. You stop chasing people who made you question your worth. You stop explaining every little detail to save your peace. Because some people thrives, keyword thrives, on chaos. You didn't change for anybody else's approval. When you change, you elevate it. And your elevation exposes what couldn't rise with you. Now, here's the thing. Some people may look at your change as being distance. They may call it arrogance. They may call it an attitude. But the reality of all of this, it's more of an awareness. It's more of a protection. And not just any protection. We're talking spiritual protection. And it also means boundaries. And no one likes boundaries nowadays. You simply outgrown what no longer feeds your spirit. And that is okay. Sometimes growth does offend people. And it actually shows who really is there for you and who really is happy for you. So let's get into it. Your healing may offend the people who are comfortable with you being broken, who are comfortable when you were in a very complacent, stagnant situation. Transformation and growth sometimes scares people. And sometimes it offends people who are still stuck in a very complacent state of being. When you start changing, it often reveals who was connected. Well, I'm sorry, not often, but it reveals who was connected to the old version of you. And some people, they love that old version of you. They love your silence. If you were when you didn't say anything, they love the fact that you were compliance, your need for their approval, or they admired and really love the fact that you were in a very low state of vibrational or mentality or emotional, state of being at that time. People do not sometimes accept your growth. Growth exposes what relationships were built on survival instead of soul connections. Growth exposes those who were okay with where you were because it made them feel more comfortable, or it allowed them to be okay with you being in that certain space. And so when you are growing and you have changed, those who remember that version of you, sometimes that growth scares them. And they can't accept that you are a new, profound person. So sometimes growth means that you're starting, to set boundaries in your life. You don't chase no one's approval. You don't chase no one's validation when you speak your truth. And some people are afraid of losing the access they had of you, or have of you. So now this new version of you protects you from it protects your peace, and it allows you to feel safe. And those that were once around you at a version of yourself when you were low, they was okay with that. They was okay with that. But you have to understand, though, you're not rejecting anyone. You're in a healing stage in life. You're responding to your healing, and that is okay. People resist change because it forces them to confront their own stagnation. But when you are a person that's saying, look, I am no longer operating that space of who I was years ago. Accept me for who I am. And you know what? You don't even need no one's approval for acceptance. Because those who really, really, truly love you, they will admire your growth. They will love you for who you are. And they will see that change, that they will look at that change as an evolution of your empowerment. But see, when people have not grown in their own personal life, they can't accept anyone else that's around them to do anything differently. When your energy shifts and not everyone's ready to face their reflection, so they can't understand. And this is the psychology behind all of this. People will project. They'll project their own insecurities. They'll project their own misfortunes. They'll project their own dealings, on the way on thinking onto you. They'll project, accuse, or even distance themselves because your growth disrupts their emotional equilibrium that they were used to. Your light makes their shadows uncomfortable. But you are not responsible. No one's responsible for anyone else's insecurities. No one's responsible for managing anyone's way of thinking and their insecurities. As a person, you have to protect your aura. You have to protect your peace. And you have to be okay with that growth that you have and accept it and love it, because that means that you have a higher calling, and that calling is what God have placed you in. When God elevates you, He will separate you from everyone. And not because, God thinks that you're better. That's not what it is. Because God loves everyone. It's the same. But because your calling requires clarity. Some of us have a deeper rooted calling that only God can fulfill, and only you can understand that purpose. It's not up for anyone else to understand that purpose. They are not required to understand that purpose. And that is okay. The next level of life, of your life, often and a lot of times can include, it can't, see, here's the thing. When you are in a space of peace and a space of empowerment and enlightenment and just evolving in a very positive way, you cannot be around anything that is chaotic, whether it's gossiping, emotional chaos, emotional turmoils. I mean, that is the most, it's going to stunt your growth, and it's not going to allow you to be in a place where God has taken you to. But when God placed you in a place of stillness and a place of separation, your discernment will sharpen. Your spirit will start rejecting what was familiar with you and put you in alignment to become the person that you are ordained to become. It's going to feel very uncomfortable. But when you aren't in that season of preparation, God's going to prepare you for it before he even place you there. So that's why sometimes, when you're around people, that when you change, I know for myself, I have changed mentally, spiritually, emotionally. And so the space that I was in before, when I was very low vibrational state, I was okay with that. And even like there have been situations where it was a lot of chaotic things going on in my life. And even when I was in a state of not really in a very high dimensional state of mind, I still realized that wasn't who I want to be. And I knew deep down in my heart and my soul that it did not align with my spirit. But once I had that transformation of spiritual transformation and awakening, it allowed me to look at everything that was in my past to say, you know what? I no longer want to be there. And when you get to that space of spiritual growth, remember, it's not personal, it's your purpose. It's your purpose. Growth changes your agreement with people. Growth changes your agreement with people. It changes your habits. It changes your energy. So accept the growth. Accept all of it. So growth, and when you're changing, you're going to face backlash. But you have to know how to protect yourself and not care. So first thing, you never want to explain your peace. You don't need to justify your healing journey. And it's something that I didn't understand. Now I do, and I don't care. But before, I feel like I used to have to always justify or always over-explain myself. But you never have to explain your peace, because those who love you and really genuinely care, they will want to know what's going on with you, and they will allow you to heal when it's necessary for you. The second thing you have to understand is to love people from where they are. Some people cannot go with you, and that is okay. Forgive people quietly. You do not always have to say. The people think that because you don't really socialize with them or talk to them that you hate them or things like that. And that's not the case. You can forgive a person and just quietly distance yourself from them, but in your heart, you have learned to accept. Love people from where they are, because everyone's personal journey, everyone's personal growth is their own growth and journey. You have to be okay with where people at and and understand that they may not be able to come where you are, because you are in a place where God is aligning you to, because you have a special calling that is going on. And accept people from where they are, because eventually that calling, if they have one on them, they will get to where you are. Stay grounded. Growth often feels very, very lonely, but it's never empty. It's a sacred space for your new opening, your new alignment, your new awakening. And just remember who you are and where you have become. Sorry. You didn't come this far to shrink again, And you never want to allow anyone to put you back in a state of where you were when you were in a very emotional, lower vibrational state. You've learned to choose peace over performance, alignment over approval, purpose over people pleasing. They're mad because they can't access the healing version of you, and that is okay. They used to be able to access the wounded version of you. And that was okay. Not everyone is meant to understand your transformation because growth will cost a lot of relationships. But in return, your authentic self will resonate differently. And there's nothing like feeling very authentic. There's nothing like becoming the highest version of yourself or the highest alignment that is empowered by this radiant magnetic energy that God has aligned through you and from your spirit and to your spirit. You stay awakened, stay aligned. And always remember, you never want to apologize for your growth. Your growth is your truth. The people who truly value you, the people who truly, truly love you, they want to see you evolved. And they will never become against you. So continue to transform. Continue to rise. Choose peace always over pleasure. Choose peace over the past. Deepen that spirit. Deepen that purpose. Deepen the mind. When you have a light, you need to protect it. Protect this new version of yourself. And you only want to align yourself with people who are who's operating in the same frequency and who's operating in a space of truth. And even if it's family or close friends, you can love them from a distance. You can love people as who they are. But you never need to apologize for who you are.